So here's a weekly chart on Apple here. Obviously has a little bit of a trend line here that you guys can use as a support if it comes down to this level. On daily, I would say that it looks pretty bearish so far, but then it has a little gap here. If you guys zoom in, it has a tiny little gap in between here that probably filled. I did swing some Apple puts 177.5 for this week. We'll see how that goes. It did come in all the way to 177.23. So this actually looks, if it takes this low here, that it might come down even more. So if you look at the 4 hours, the next time frame here, it does look like a little rounding bottom. It looks like a little cup and handle actually. So if you go here, we mark this level here, and then it has a handle here. If it lets me draw it for you guys. Here's a little handle that it has. So if the puts don't work out here, I would watch. My stop loss will be around 181, or maybe even here at 180.5. If they don't work out, that's okay. I'll take a loss. If it breaks here, I would expect us to go all the way down to about 175-ish on Apple. Then if we go here, let me not do this one. Yeah, so the bottom line here, if Apple breaks 176.72, it goes all the way to 174.48. Let me just switch real quick. So here's Apple. So use 30 days, 30 minutes on this. We're just going to look to see if there's any VPOCs below, above. Obviously, there's a VPOC above, just for people that are new. A VPOC is a POC that has not been tested, and it's to the upside and to the downside, okay? So here's a VPOC here, and they are 10 times stronger than the regular POC. And you guys can see that there was a lot of accumulation on the top here on Apple. And Apple's been running like a wild dog for past about 4 or 5 months. I think it was up about 34% for the year. So would not be surprised if they take some money off of Apple here soon. Let's see. So this from 176, this is not a VPOC, but there's a VPOC right here. And usually what I do is, for the newer people here, I take the VPOC, then I look for the standard distribution and volume from the gray little bars, the volume profiles, to see if there's any, like an even distribution. I'll just mark this, and this becomes your demand zone. Let's see. So here was a nice retest of that level. That was beautiful. That was an easy buy. So 169.47 becomes a fairly decent level for a bounce, if in case it does want to pull back all the way. So tomorrow, if it does break about 167.57, which was a 4-hour bottom, I would expect 176 to be a bounce area for it. And then if that crosses down, then we have a little bit of more room to 174. On the upside, we're looking probably about 179.82. It will go to all the way to 181.23. I believe that's, no, it's not. The all-time highs right here. And then once 10 a.m. comes around, for the new people, we use confluence points. So the way that works is if you, let me just bring up this chart here on snow. So if you're looking at this chart here, we look for confluence points between orbs, trend lines, VPOCs, POCs, along with the VWAP cloud, the trend bar, and then the orbs itself. So in this case, obviously the orbs wouldn't have been out till right here, right? So they broke the orb high, and then they hit the first target, 1272. Then they came back, and then you're watching for the confluence. Here you have a higher low again, and then here it's kind of tempting to take out to make a new lower low here. So if you look at this level here becomes a pretty important level for shorting, right? So if you're going to be looking at orbs to be counted as levels, here it dipped below the orb high. For me, by shorting an orb high when the market looks weak, or going long at the orb low, the market looks somewhat bouncy and trending up more from the orb low, those are the best risk to reward trades. So for me, this is actually counted as one. Orb high is one. You have the VWAP, you have the trend bar on 3 minutes on the ASHI candles. That's 3 total. Then you have the 4, which is the bottom trend line here connecting the higher lows. So you have 1, 2, 3 here touches. So that's the 4th one. And then you also know that 344.4 is your highest low there. If it breaks that point, there's a high chance that it's going to come back retested, and then continued down, and that's exactly what it did. So here it hit the cloud perfectly on the VWAP, and then it just continued down. If you were to take this trade on the orb high, on the break of orb high here on this candle, then basically your stop loss would be orb high itself. Hopefully that makes sense for new guys. I know there's a handful of people that joined. Just let me know if it doesn't make sense, ask questions, or you can ping me directly and I'll be happy to explain it. So that's for Apple. Obviously, you guys saw the Tesla news. Basically they destroyed the number of cars that they've sold here. So for me, I'm just going to delete all of this stuff. So start from scratch for you guys. So there's a couple of epochs on the downside here that we had. So if you look here, this actually might not be a epoch. It's not. So this one is very close and it did touch the value area. So it's no longer an epoch. Okay. So last day POC is about 166. And now you guys still see the value areas are kind of trending down. So for me, if I was going to take this long, it would probably be around about 1085. The first target would be around 1100, 1113. This would be the first level. So 1085, I would target for the calls. If we do start dipping down tomorrow, if it goes to 1050, just a psychological number, I would probably try to take a trade there on a bounce level. And then if you look at the dailies, if you're an inside guy or whatever your strategy might be here, so 1081 might be telling you to take a long right here, or 1082-ish. You can definitely try that. Once I take a look at the clouds to confirm the levels, we'll see, how much room does it have. So here, if you look at the daily pivots at 1073, that's also not a bad area to take it. Above the daily pivot to 1073, then it's on the bottom here, and you guys see how important 1118 is. So it's the weekly top chart here, and it's also the monthly pivot on 1122. So you have a monthly pivot at 1122, weekly top at 1118, and then you have the daily pivot here. So this is a nice range over 1073, but just trust me that there's going to be a lot of choppiness here once it gets in. You can either wait for the breakout above the daily top and the weekly top and the monthly pivot, wait for a retest. As soon as it comes back here, I'm pretty positive if we get this move here, that it's going to come back and then it's going to continue to make a higher high here. But let's see how we do tomorrow. So these are the levels for Tesla. Let's see. So we got Tesla there. I would watch Roblox tomorrow, which I have a lot of stuff on. I think we traded it. I was going to hide it for a second here. So obviously here we have a double bottom that formed, and it had a nice gap here. So this was the first. I would count more on these two here. These two here as double bottoms, but this is the gap that it's been protecting here a few times. All right. So if you guys look at this, right, so this was the gap where it started, I guess, all the way from about 70s all the way to, what is this, 93-ish. So all the way to $93, defended it once, twice, three times, and almost four. So this is actually not a bad chart to keep an eye on. And I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with Nancy Pelosi, and she's been really on it. So I would definitely watch this for tomorrow to see if we can get a run. I would say last time we played Roblox, you guys remember that we actually printed really, really heavy on this. And to me, you could make a case for an inverse head and shoulders here, maybe. Right here, I will have to measure some of this stuff. But if this is the case, what is this? The close was 140.68. Honestly, I would play this about 140.68 here. Or if you're a little bit more risk averse, you can wait for 106.7 if that breaks. I'm pretty sure that we could get around all the way up to, let's see what the fibs say. Just go for the lows. You could get around all the way about 112, but you should watch out for the 108.72. We know this was a bottleneck before, right here. And then you also have the 110 level, which I'll be really cautious about from the selling standpoint. People would come and sell. Okay. Any questions on Roblox?
You said over 104. 468, and what was the other one for risk averse?
I would wait for 105. I mean, it's not a huge difference, about 32 cents.
Yeah.
I would most likely, I would suggest people wait for 105ish.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a pretty good looking chart, honestly, and knowing that there are people buying it, and if I remember correctly, there was a huge buy on these. So there was 98 puts for this week, which would not be a bad idea to get here. 98 would be a really, really good level. Then you have March 18th, 105s, which are pretty expensive. And here's your, I don't know if this was Nancy. I think this was Nancy Pelosi. I think one of these was Nancy Pelosi. So January 4th, 104. So that's a decent order. So I would definitely watch this to see how we open. And you can see there's about 3-to-1 ratio between calls to puts. So it's kind of in our favor. And let's see if it dips where we can actually catch it tomorrow. Because dip entries on Roblox have been paying really, really well. So we have a POC here. Unlucky that it's not epoch, but I'd watch this right here. This level here, it's a pretty nice level here. So 108.28. So that was a POC from Thursday, right? Was this Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. And you guys see the accumulation here, right? So if I was to go into maybe like 1 hour chart, you guys see that this level 108 is fairly important. It's a pretty big range, 108 to 93, but that's what it's been dancing in right now. In this area, this is the dance area for it. Once it breaks this level, and if you see here, once we break this 104.68, there's room to all the way to 108. So tomorrow, I will probably be loading up 105s and probably 106 calls, a little bit heavier, maybe even some 104s on the weekly side. Okay, so that's Roblox. I'm gonna look at AMD just because I love trading AMD. So here's a big, actually, symmetrical triangle forming on AMD. I would say that it's almost not ready to be traded even tomorrow, but let's see. So here it had a POC that it bounced perfectly here, then another one that it respected here. So that means somebody got filled on all of these orders. So the value area is honestly, if it can break this area tomorrow, about 146.71, you could play that for about $1 move to the next value area, which is probably 80% chance it does that if it breaks it. And depending on how the futures open, this would be the first target here, 150.96, which is the value area from Wednesday. And I would say here's your VPOC on the upper side. And if it decides to not play the games, you can short it below Friday's low. For more risk-averse people, you probably could take it here at 148.79 to go long. I would probably consider this level right here to go long on it. Firm, I think they have earnings coming up. Let me just check them. February 10th, they have earnings. You guys know I'm pretty bullish on this company itself, so we're kind of stuck here at 127.2. Seems like if you're at this level here at 108.43, I think that's where I got the mixed up. Roblox and the firm, the levels in my head. I would definitely look for, if I was to play this on tomorrow on the weekly side, I would definitely consider the break of the high. So about maybe call it 106. If the 106 breaks with this trend line, you could have a $2-3 run to 1.8, and then you also have about 110 psychological level on this. And I'll just quickly switch to a firm on Kelt just to confirm if there's range on it. So 107 will be a hard rejection. 102, there's a high chance that we go to 98.41 tomorrow. If we go to 98.41, this is, I will be a buyer here at this level. The cloud is closed. I will be buying the 100 Cs right here if it does dip to this level. So basically the way it's looking right now, I would love if this happened tomorrow. If we come here, or if we kind of go over here and come back for a rejection, I would actually, would not mind this at all. Go above it, come back, 102, defend it. I would even consider a high risk trade right here, even if it happens before 10 o'clock. but you see that there's a lot of confluences right here. So this is your 4-hour top at 108.32. If I look at the daily cloud here, you have 107.04 is your daily middle, and that level is fairly respected on all charts. So let me kind of zoom out here. So it hasn't been over it since about 11.9. They tried to get over it here on 11/16th or 15th, wasn't able again here. So for me, it would be ideal if we can get it kind of at this level, if we can, about 98. If it breaks that, then we have a 92 level for it. Let's see what it's 95. Yeah, true breakout happens on this stock over 121. 121, once that crosses, it's probably going to go to about 160. So this is the X is the area where you can expect a huge run once it breaks this level. It's almost like an explosion is going to happen. So I'll definitely watch this tomorrow on a firm. Let's see. Let me just go here. Another one. If you look at Ford on the daily, this looks to be literally rectangular consolidation. So if I go here, you guys see the 21 has been arranged to, what is this, about 18.6? I would call it even less, probably about 19.5. So it has a nice range here. It's making higher lows here, higher low, and here it's kind of consolidating still. So if you can get a break over the 21, this would not be a bad play at all. 21.1 breaks, you can get a move to 21.5. And remember, I'm looking for 10 to 20% on some of these plays. If I can get 10, 20% here between 21 and 5, I probably can. I will take this trade tomorrow. So 21.1, if it wants to go break this down, it would take a little bit of more selling to go down, but this would be the level 19. I would call it 19 even. And I still have shares on this company since, let's see, I paid $4.20. I think it was somewhere here that day that I bought it. Around here, I bought a lot of shares on Ford at $4.20. It's been paying well. So it looks like a bull pennant if you look about it. Look here. So here you have a nice bull pennant, and bull pennants are measured moves. So if you're looking from, what is this, 1260 to 1221, that's $9 move. So you're looking about target to be around $30 on this once it does break this area, right? The longer it consolidates, the bigger the move will be. So just keep that in mind. Let's see, I do like that one. I will take some chart requests here soon. I did see OLTUP. I used to trade OLTUP religiously actually before. Let me just remove these levels. So you can tell here was the breakout level in OLTUP before. So this is where it broke right here. It tried to kind of come back to it, and it did in a weird way. It created a demand zone here. So here was a bounce. Now it's making higher lows. And now you can see that it has basically a top here. I would say 417. If it breaks this level, that it can go much higher, which would be the all-time high right here. So I would definitely watch this tomorrow over 417. I'll probably create an alert here. Let's see, Etsy. I think we had it last week. Okay, let's see. So this one looks like a bear flag right here. So definitely not worth taking until it makes a higher high here. About 233, which is $15 away. Here was actually a perfect short, right? I broke this channel, just kind of giving you guys heads up. But here's where you have a little bit of a bear flag forming. So I would definitely watch this tomorrow. If we open, maybe to the downside, I would definitely watch this and see if we can take it below 215. Yeah, definitely watch this one below 215 tomorrow on Etsy. I would not wait. You can wait for 233, but just put an alert on that. I don't think it's happening tomorrow. I'll just quickly peek at SC. Okay, Etsy's below the weekly mid. It's on the bottom of the 4 hours, and it has more to come down to about 206. This would be a great trade tomorrow. Below 215, grab about 205 puts, and they could end up in the money. So 205s are fairly cheap. This would be a blessing if they give us. And I have to clean up my watch list. Okay, I'll do that later. Let's see. So we got this. Etsy looks decent for downsides. See what else we got. I know SC was running last week. So SC looks pretty good actually. This one looks fairly decent here for continuation. I would wait for it. I mean, this is a nice range here, but it's also a bear flag. It's a lot of iffy setups here. So if it breaks this, you can take it to the upside here and watch it. You could probably get a catch all the way to 232. So I will watch for this break here. Let me just zoom in. My eyes are not as good as I think they are. So about 227, let's say, and a half break. So there's a chance that you get a $5 move and you catch that move. That would pay nicely here. So I'll definitely watch this tomorrow for potential upside or downside. Downside, you want to short it below 210. So, I mean, it would take something significant for you to short it. If you're an inside guy, this is your level here, 219.75. Maybe call it 220 breaks. You have more downside, and you could literally go all the way to this trend line. I'm sorry, 215. So $5 move, or the previous low here, which is 210. If you look at SC. Yep, so it hit the trend line, hit the top. Let's see, where is it on the daily? It really stuck in no man's land, and then 256 is a true breakout level on this one. Really no movement. All of this is small moves till this breaks here. Okay. Coin. So coin's kind of a no man's land as well. Let me look at the weekly chart. Yeah, so this is almost, I don't know, I can't tell. It looks like a bearish piercing setup. I'll definitely watch this. If this breaks here, I would probably take it long. So 281 is a true breakout level on it, just from the trend line on the weekly. Let's see on the daily. You could literally short it. Look how well they held right here on the bottom. So below 250, I would say a short below 250. So we'll change this. So we have that one. So short below. If you're inside type of guy, you can go over 260 here. I would probably play that as well. Yeah, I'll probably take it over 260 on the long side, but let's see. Okay, so we got this guy. Okay, what else we got? We got Apple, we covered Tesla, Amazon. Can't forget about that guy. Okay, so this worked out. Hopefully you guys were able to to make money off of this on Friday. This worked out pretty well on a short side for all of us, I think. For majority of us. I know some of you guys got caught holding a little bit too long. Let's see how the monthly candle ended up. Not the prettiest monthly candle. Usually, if you guys see here, when it had candle like this, it had a little bit of follow through and it dipped. So if we decide to break this 32.80, I would expect us to go kind of all the way down to 31.76. If you look at the consolidation zone, this is a nice zone here on monthly consolidation that we talked about. The longer the consolidation, the bigger the breakout, and it's been consolidating for some time now. So Obviously 35.50 if it breaks this, we might rock it a little bit higher. Let's see. So let me just check 1 hour on it real quick. So I would probably watch this 33.85 for the break higher. Probably go at about 3,400 or a little bit more than that, probably around this area. So it has a nice channel on 1 hour. So I would look for the break of the channel for a real move to the upside. If you're going to short it, I would definitely short it below this level here, which is 33.14. And Amazon is well respected on Kelt. Let's see. So it's bearish on this one. So it has room all the way to 32.86. And then it's 3158. So if it was to break 3244, there's a high chance you get 3158. So I'll definitely watch this trend line to break 3322. It'll probably be about $40 drop tomorrow. So I'll watch that on Amazon. Let's see what else we got. Any other tickers from you guys that are on a call?
I saw you look at Apple, and then I don't know if you just didn't see anything or.
Yeah, we covered Apple at the beginning.
Oh.
Yep. So Apple, from the Kelt perspective, right? So the daily cloud is closed. And I'm just looking at higher time frames range on the stock, right? And that's what Kelts are able to tell us. So it looks like Apple is going to most likely reject here at 181, about, what is this, top line, 181.32. If it was to break the daily pivot, it's probably not a bad level to take along. It has a VPOC at 179.82. If you're going to short it, it has below 177.23. You have about $1, maybe 15 move, and then it has a daily middle right here. It should be this level right here. That's your daily middle. And then if you look below, if it breaks 176.75, there's a high chance that we're going to go all the way to 171.25. So below 175 on the safe side, it goes to 171.25, and it will be a strong bounce here. Roku, yeah, Roku's been easy to play. Maybe I should remove all of this. Let me just go naked first on Roku. So here's monthly chart on Roku, and I usually like to look at the monthlies on some of these stocks that have been beat up, just to understand what's going on and where they closed. Obviously, this, they had a nice sell-off all the way to 190, and it kind of recovered all the way to 266. That's about $70 move, which is pretty good. Obviously, this level will be important moving forward. So I would mark this level on your chart, but then, from the top here, monthly trend line is here. If you're going to go super long, you have the 166. Here you have a really indecision or a reversal candle building up on the monthly. And here's your kind of like a daily chart. Here, I would say, you had one top, one touch. Here you had the perfect touch, obviously 190s. I would say if you can break this consolidation here, this little box right here, you have room to go higher. So it's actually a really good setup for both ways. And these are easy to play, as you guys know. The length of the box, the top to the bottom, is your target to the upside. So if I was to measure this, and I hate measuring in toss, let's see, this is what, it can't be 19%, 8.9%. So if that's the case, then you take from here, 8.9, let's see, somewhere around here. I would look for a target to be here at 260-ish. So, but obviously I would not hold it all the way through that. I would take my 250 psychological level, and I don't know how pricey the contracts are on Roku right now. Let's see. So 250s are fairly cheap now, but let's see how if it gaps up, or what it does if it breaks this rectangular consolidation here at 241. Prematurely, if you wanted to get in, you could play the bounce at 221. Trust that the buyers are going to show up here after 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 times they showed up before. They're going to do it again. So I would play some 225 calls here on a bounce of 221 on Roku. So long 241, short really 221.75, or if bounce, if you see a curl happening on 5-10 time frame, then you can definitely take it long 225, 230 calls. And you know Roku can make that move. Well, Twilio, I guess I had everything charted on Twilio. Let's see, for a long time. So it's honestly just been stuck in a range. Here I had a bounce. Has there been any bullish flow on Twilio, if anyone's got? I mean, you could take it over 270. If it does break 270, I would definitely take that, because it would be out of the value area for 2 days. I do expect another chop day here to be consolidating before it goes higher. So let's see, how was the daily on it? The weekly candle. So weekly, not bad. Monthly maybe built a little hammer. Yeah, a lot of calls on the bull side for Twilio. So this is not a bad candle here. Let's remove these levels. So this is your monthly here, monthly high. And the low. So I mean, it's a nice range, about $50 range in between. And you see how many POCs it has here. That's usually a sign of buying or selling. Somebody's forming a position here. So you have a couple of them pretty much at the same level. So you have this one here, this one here, this one here, and then slightly below. And the value area is still kind of staying flat here, and then it dipped below and then regained all of that. So now if it kind of takes out that previous value area high, I think it might be going to the next one here, which would be around 277. So I'll definitely watch this over the previous value area high, about 270. If it breaks that, then it probably has a chance to go about 280-ish. On Twilio. Let me check real quick. Yep, so I had a perfect bounce here off a 4-hour middle. Yep, so it needs to hold. It needs to reclaim this for, to move higher, obviously 263.69 needs to be reclaimed. It closed slightly below it, which is fairly bear sign. And if you look on the top right on this chart, it needs to reclaim this as well, which is 265.74. And then it has some room to go higher. So I would definitely watch for this 270 break on Twilio. I personally would not play it anything in between. There's not enough meat for me to do that. Okay, any questions on that? Anyone? No. Okay. What else do we want to look at? HD. Yeah, HD had some decent setups. I'll look at it here first, and then I'll flip since I'm on the screen. Okay, so it has a daily top that's approaching. I usually don't trade in the cloud in this area, so 421.6 would be the level. It has a bearish divergence in 30 minutes. So a nice dip buy on this would be around 412 or 404. And below that, it has 397. So these are your levels. If it dips to 412-ish, that's not a bad way to get into a call on Home Depot. Over 421.6, it looks to be probably going a little bit higher. And I don't know how, I haven't traded Home Depot in a while. I don't know where. So yeah, that's very close to the all-time highs right here. I mean, that's a V recovery right there. I'm trying to cheat here. It's not good. So obviously has this. You could draw support from this level as well. So I had this one here. So if it breaks below 412, as we just talked about here, if it breaks below this 411-ish area, then it has room all the way down to about, it would be targeting that flat 400 if it goes, because the monthly, weekly pivots are right there and the dailies on the top. So it has a lot of room. So 412 to 404. If the 412 breaks tomorrow, or daily pivot, I would say breaks, then I would definitely get in some puts to 405, 404 level. And then me personally, I would not take it till it breaks 421.6 or even all-time highs. Okay, let's look at that. Wow, this then beat up a lot. Okay, so it held its own right here on the bottom. I guess I've been watching this stock since the 70s. So it had this level here, obviously, that it broke from. This was a nice breakout level for it. Let's see, this held. It's a weird shape, left shoulder, but in case this is forming some kind of head and shoulders, this would be fairly bad on the weekly. The reason why I say that is there's a lot of stocks that did this before. Like if you look at, for instance, this stock right here, Pecan. So it had a nice head and shoulders. A lot of people didn't believe it, and then once they broke it, they usually worked out pretty well here. So this was a measured move, as you guys know. It dipped pretty hard. So on apps, you just have to be cautious on this. Is it apps, or which one was in that? It was nuts, all right. So here it's forming that level, and let's look at the daily. It's probably a bear flag, yeah. So here you have nice little trend line, 1, 2, and here's your bounce on this level here. So I could honestly take this both ways tomorrow. If so, we have this one here, 136.65, and then you could definitely take a short below 128 or previous day high, which is, I would round this down to 130. And you would have to be fairly decent quick here and get out at 124-ish. That's that. Here's the video. Let's check the video real quick. So the video had a nice, obviously has a nice bull flag forming here. So as a nice bull flag, that was, it kind of popped above it. Now I would expect it to come back and retest that. Let's see what this level 288 might be the level for a bounce, or this one here about 290. So it's very close to that 290 bounce to see if it's going to go higher. I do think NVIDIA is a good company in terms of the positioning and what's going to happen around technology and the metaverse and whatnot. I think they're going to be in high demand. They do have shortage issues, not only them, but whole semis. So I would definitely watch this. Let's just find some levels on it. So the high on the weekly is this one here, 313. Obviously, that's fairly far away here. So you have previous day at 300. So honestly, 300 is a good entry for it. On the long side, I would not suggest that you play the mini levels on the video, because it can really slap you quick. So let's check this real quick. The video, see what we got. Okay, so here's a weekly pivot at 289 at 48. That would be a really good level for a bounce play. If it breaks 293.27, that'd be very nice to get out. And also on the upside, it has that level here on a daily pivot. I would definitely watch that. And it happens to be the 4-hour kilt here is lined up with the 4-hour mid. almost on a penny here. So I would definitely watch this level here. If it can reclaim this 4-hour mid, then you see the 4-hour top is 307.46. It's still below the 4-hour mid, which is 297.46. So for me, honestly, I would not touch this till it crosses 300s. It's just not worth it. And then you see that we are here in the cloud. Even if you take 300, you're still in the cloud here, which means it's going to be choppy for me. Usually want to trade stuff that's outside of the cloud, and you can see here if I zoom in on 30 minutes, 1 rejection, 2, 3, 4. It was not able to even get over the weekly top here. So, I mean, I'm not saying don't trade it, but it just doesn't seem to be ready yet until it makes a nice move. Okay. So far, I really like Roblox the best and Affirm. Net, we talked about Net here. Yeah. Let's see, apps. Apps is in no man's land. Apps actually looks good for a short side trade. If it breaks 59.27, it has 56. Yep, it would have 56. So that'd be a nice level to trade. 58.22, then it really could dump here. If this happens, it could go back to $49. Let's see, Oracle and Neo. Let's see, on 5 minutes, some bullish divergence. Let's see, so Oracle was actually an easy short here, 99-ish. So, I mean, these type of stocks that have a huge gap up, then they kind of fall to fill it all the way. So they had a gap all the way from 90s all the way to about 100. And I know Flipper called this perfectly. I just don't think it's ready for any calls here. Me personally, I just don't think it's ready here. Yeah, I just don't see it bouncing anytime soon. I would buy it at 84.91. If it dips to 84.91, that would be a nice place. So here. So it's very, very close to the weekly bottom, which would be your magnet here. So this will be a nice area to scoop up some calls. And I'm not talking about weekly calls. I'm more talking about, getting March or April calls on this. Let's see. I mean, here you have a nice down channel right here. You could play that, but I honestly think it's going here. I honestly think it's going to go down all the way here. Yeah, those are dirt cheap probably for a reason. What's your setup? Somebody posted something. Yeah, I mean, the same thing. Yeah, to me, this looks very bearish. But I could be wrong. So let's see tomorrow. Neo, let's see. Neo has a good.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Would it be silly to have a bias on something like?
On what? I think he broke out.
Would it be biased to have on Oracle because it's had like 11 red days in a row, or like 9? Would it be silly to have a bias that it'll go up, I guess?
No, not necessarily. Let me show you something here. So if you look at CRM here, I'll show you something here. So CRM went, I remember this day when it popped here, and some people that were with me in trading alphas before, this exploded. I mean, obviously it went all the way to here, and everybody expected this bounce here. So there's 1 week, 2 weeks, then another lower low here, 3, 4 weeks they had of lower lows. And you're talking about how many days on Oracle?
It was 9 or 11.
Yeah, this is just the 3rd week, man. They can drag this. Sure, you can get a bounce here, but I would definitely expect a bounce in this area. And I did not draw a level from this candle here, but look how well this area is lined up here to that candle.
Mm-hmm.
You see this?
Yeah.
It's almost, they want it back here because they probably have some buyers. So, and if we switch to 30 minutes or 1 hour just to see how this looks on our VPUCs. So here, obviously, look at this. This was your VPUC right here at 88, 7, and 4, and look where it consolidated for a couple of days. Came right back to the VPUC, right? So there was a huge order that was not filled. They came back, they tried to fill it. And then you have a huge demand zone that's right here as well. You see this 86 area. So you have 1, 2, 3, almost in that area. So if I was to play this, I mean, you could grab this value area right here and literally let this be your demand zone, and it might dip all the way to 84.9. So I'll definitely watch this tomorrow. If you get a nice bounce here, this will be the area where it does it. So obviously you see here 1, 2, 3, you had 3 POCs, which we have the rule. Then it came back to the top of the demand. It popped. Obviously they made a higher low here on the next pop, and then look, poof, explosion, came back to the VPUC. I think they come back here to the bottom of this. So I think it would make sense that they would bounce here, where it collides with demand zone as well as this is the bottom of this, if you want to call it falling wedge or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I mean, you could look for a bounce for it, but I would play something closer in the money on these instead of the 90 calls. I would probably play something like 89s or 88s, or if it dips to 86, 87 calls. I don't like playing. If you look at the delta on these, what is it? The delta is 0.15. Yeah, I would definitely not play 0.15 on these. Okay, what else we got? Okay, we said PFE and Myrna. So let's see, PFE. I know it has a good setup because I was watching it for some time. So let me just show you. A lot of you guys, especially new guys, and you'll kind of get used to this. Here's what most people see on your charts, right? Guys, would all agree? This is what all you guys see on the charts. Here, let me just remove it. A lot of people are like, yeah, man, this looks like a huge bull flag, and it does. It's a nice bull flag. And this is how market makers win a lot of times against retail. Is there's a nice bull flag, and people usually get in on the break of this. Would you guys agree? 58.7. If it breaks above it, I'll get the 60 calls, and you probably did well. It went to the 60 calls here. So now you have the psychological 60 here. If it breaks above it, it can go higher. What they don't tell you, if you look here, the cloud is definitely closed at 59.97. So a lot of people tomorrow, and let's see how this reacts tomorrow. A lot of people will play this tomorrow over this level here, 59.77, and they might get out of 60, but it's going to be a nice rejection at this level, at the 60. So the cloud's been closed since Tuesday, and obviously hasn't been able to breach it. Let me just check how close is this cloud. So it's not hard close on it. It would just need some momentum, a single rejection here, and then maybe a bull flag on 10-15 minutes. Then you could take it higher, but 61.05 is definitely going to be the level to watch. And here you see that it's stuck inside the cloud. So, break below 59.1, there's a strong chance of rejection. 59.38, obviously, I believe, closed below that. So, and it has a weekly pivot. So it's kind of pinched. For me, it would be, if I was to trade this, I would wait for my 61.06 to clear, let it go above, let it retest, and then I would take it long. Yep, so above I hit 124, then it came back inside the clouds. Okay, Bubba's probably done maybe tomorrow. There's a huge buyer on Bubba, let's see. So if it breaks this weekly pivot, which is 118.4, I'll just activate this. 118.4-ish. Yep, so you guys see that the bottom of the weekly cloud rejected this really, really hard. They really didn't like it. So if you're gonna take this long, you have to wait for you can get it over 123.9. If you want to take Bubba long, you can definitely take it over that. What most likely will happen tomorrow is it's gonna go to about 120.46 and reject. and then you have room to go higher here because you wanted to reclaim this weekly cloud 120.42 and to get out of this weekly here. So if you look at this right here, it's kind of interesting. Baba's never since when's this November hasn't been over the weekly mid cloud here. It attempted, so I would expect that it's going to make another bounce and attempt to go break this 150s. We just want to see it over this cloud first. So this cloud here, come back for a retest like this one right here. Once it does that, that's free money. So here's what I'm talking about. You break the cloud, and then you come back, and then you go to the top of the middle cloud right here, the middle line. So with that being said, I'll just bring back Snow is actually one of the stocks that I'm going to be watching. We covered NEO already. One of the stocks that I'll be watching tomorrow, just to make sure that we don't miss it. There's a lot of buyers on 370, I believe, calls. So if you look here, I'll just remove all of this. So here you have a nice symmetrical triangle forming. I would definitely watch this for a break higher. And here you see the seller showed up both times, pretty much at the same level. So 347.86. I mean, if it breaks this 330 level, probably has a little bit more downside to go here to 312-ish. But I honestly am a little bit more bullish on Snow. I would definitely watch this 347 level to break this, and then you can go higher. It'd be a nice play to watch for tomorrow. We can cover NEO. I mean, if I think NEO had number release or some kind of car release numbers. So here's making higher highs on the weekly, which is good. Obviously, you want it above 33. I would not play it any other way. If you take it over 33, then it has a previous high. If you want to call this a high here at 34.72, that would be the first point of resistance that we'll have. 33.25, yeah. So I would definitely watch over 33.07 tomorrow. And the volume is picking up here if you're looking on the weekly, which is a good sign. Let me check how I close on the monthly. Just a nasty candle on the monthly here. But it did bounce here at what, 27-ish. So it seems like they're loading up now on it. So here's an uptick on the weekly on the volume. Yeah, I would definitely watch 33.07 for the break higher. I would definitely watch XPEV then, if the XPEV has even a better chart actually than NEO. Yeah, this looks much better than NEO, honestly. So you have this 51 level here that's been respected before a few times, right? So I would definitely watch XPEV over 51.25 because it could make a nice run. The volume's still not on the weekly. It's not where I want it to be. But here on the daily, it's trying to pick up a little bit. So definitely watch it over 51.25 with the break. Okay, so there's a VPOC here. There's definitely here. There's definitely a VPOC that it left below at 39.45. And then you have a VPOC to the upper side of 53.71. So if we break 51.25, this is easy money on XPEV tomorrow. So I'd watch definitely 51.25 on this one. Let me switch for you guys. I know some of you guys can't see this. Let me switch to my smaller monitor so you guys can see it.
Yes, that's a lot better.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so I would definitely watch XPEV. It looks pretty good. And there's another one. Is it LI? I believe it's LI. That's what it's called. Yep, so LI has a nice VPOC above. I love when there's range. So here for me, if you guys notice, it's does anyone recognize anything here? Any patterns? It's not inverse head and shoulders. How about if I give you a clue?
Oh, cup and handle.
Thanks.
Okay, so this is definitely a nice little, if you want to call it rounding bottom or a cup and handle. I would definitely watch this, and then nobody screamed yet, but here I'll give you that there was another VPOC here. If we break this 32.85 at some volume, this would be actually an excellent play to all the way about 33.93, which is a really good range for $30 stock, for me at least, to make 20-30% on this. I would definitely watch this tomorrow. So tomorrow, this is, okay, stop.
Would the EV stocks be sympathies for Tesla possibly like rallying tomorrow because of numbers?
Exactly. Yep, exactly. So, and I'm pretty sure Neo had, look at this. So Tesla had, I believe, 87% increase. But I think they're actually growing faster than Tesla did at one point. Look at this, XPEV 270% versus a year ago. So I mean, yeah, these plays can explode, as you guys know. These can run really, really fast. So definitely watch this over 51. Neo we said 33.07, yep, and then LI 50, 30, what, 32.85, maybe round this to 33 just to be on the safe side. On this, it has a nice cup and handle, and if you increase it to 1 hour, it'll look even better. Yep. So here you go, a little bit higher here. So I'll definitely watch this tomorrow to see what we can get out of it. You guys see anything interesting story-wise telling on this?
So you popped at 36.53.
Yeah, that previous gap there.
Yep, it had a nice gap there. This area is what interests me a lot, right? So you had this area here, then became like a little liquid area here. Then they sold off from.
Yeah, it's still super low volume node right there.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then it literally sold off here on this is almost like an even distribution on the volume, even to the upper side. It had a little belly here on the POC. Then obviously here it's skinny, and you see that it bounced here previously, found some support, then it rejected off of that level again. It rejected it, and it made a little bit of a higher high here compared to here. But then you see that this level here has been a seller that's been offloading shares left and right for some reason. Either they're triggering short laddering or they're trying to find another way to dip buy on some of this stuff here. This level is fairly important here, 32.74. So once we know we're over this level, we'll know that this seller here has nothing else left. And maybe he switches, or whoever, that the demand is so high that he can't even bring the price down, that it's going to go a little bit higher. So this level here is crucial tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow or whenever it happens, but 32.74. That should be your trigger like a signal. Hey, I'm moving up, not to buy, but just to kind of give you a heads up, you're moving here. Yeah, and you see here, you had a P shape here, you had a B shape, and it's funny enough where it bounced, like right here. It was almost like a perfect bounce, like previous POC. So obviously, if it closes, if it dips below this, it has some room to fall down all the way to here, because there's really no volume on any of this. The volume profile is not supporting any of this. Yep, that line looks good. So we covered some of them, Fibonacci, and we'll post the watch list after this with the top tier watch list, second tier watch list, and some key levels. So we usually post that after this is done, and we'll tag everyone so that you guys don't miss it. Okay. So for people that join, and some even if you've been in a Discord for a month or so, on the orbs, you guys will all have access here before tomorrow morning after I drop off this call. I'll make sure that you guys have access to it. You will get something like this. The best way for you to find it once you guys are given access is if you go under indicators, you click on invite only scripts, you will see 2 scripts. Orbs is shorty targets. That's basically these levels here that you're going to get with the orb high and the orb low, which is right here. And then the 50% is basically the half of that orb high and orb low. And then if you want to adjust some of the settings, the colors, you can definitely do that here. You can change the colors. If you want to add any other extensions like 618, you can definitely add that, and it gives you another level in between. I personally don't use it, but you can if it's something to use. It's a golden ratio fib. The way I play this, and I think I've shared with you guys previously on Snow, is I usually use 5 or 3 minute charts. So if you look at this, and I do use usually Ashi candles about 90% of the time for my entries and my exits here. So for instance, I'll just hide this. I can't get a good color scheme on the volume profile. I messed up my previous one. So here, if you look at our targets from Friday, and this is how the watch list works. we identified that we're going to short below 33.70. A lot of us got in here on the break of 33.70. I believe our stop loss was around 33.75 or maybe even the orb 50. I forgot. We stayed in here. We grabbed some, I believe, 3,300 puts and 33.50s. 3,300s went for about 150%. But the way we got it, we identified the major level, which was a VPOC here or maybe a POC. Then you have the confluence of items, right? So here at 10 o'clock, you broke the orb low, and then it basically continued hitting all the targets. It hit the 127. The rule is that you take a trimming at 127. Usually an option contract is going to give you more than 20% on this dip on any stock that you think of. This move here is more than 20%. It went all the way up here. I took majority of my profits here and I waited for a bounce, and you can see on the 3 minutes, the trend bar actually really never turned green on it. And you should not play till you get comfortable with the green or red trend bar. You should play the rejection or the breaks of the trend bars. See here, you broke the trend bar, but there's not really a lot of momentum, so it never really switched to be a green trend bar as well. So here we dipped again, then we broke it. You will get some of these signals here like triangles. They're systematic signals, they're lagging indicators. You can use them if you'd like as a part of your confluence. I take a look at them, I notice them. Usually in 5 minutes, they're really good to notice. They don't have a lot of negatives for me on 5 minutes. So if you look here on 5 minutes, it told you it's short right here. At 1 o'clock, it was a nice short signal, and then it basically went down. Here you see how it had multiple waves up and down, but it's not a bad confluence point. Then the next item that I want to cover with you guys is you still want to use your trend lines, right? So here you have a nice little bear flag that popped, and you want to use that as a confluence point. So here we broke the orb 50. Then the next line where you want to take a trade is basically the, if it's the rejection of the 1272, sure, that's a rejection, but it's also a bear flag break. It's below the VWAP, so you really don't have it. It's below the trend bar. So you have two confluence points on something that's trending down. This is an easy trade. You take the short right here at 33.61, and our target was on 33.50, and this time it tapped it perfectly. So I think it was about, what, $16 or $12 move. So this is not bad on zero DTEs to play, a $12 move on Amazon. You just have to be cautious on zero DT, of course, to take your profits. A lot of you guys have an issue with greed. You do not want to hold on Fridays. You're not going to become a millionaire by holding 1,000% gains on one contract or whatnot. I like to take profits at 20-30%. As the contract is, if I'm in calls, scaling and hitting the orbs, I take my profits. If I have 50 contracts, I'll take about 30% at the first one, 10, 15 on the next one, and keep some runners and keep going. Does that make sense to the new guys and everybody else? And this is not about you making $1 million on one trade. This is about you learning how to compound and grow your account. If you get greedy, you're going to get slaughtered by the market makers. And why do I say that? Take your profits on the calls. I think Jeff was on the call when I told them that, were you guys, and did anyone take the calls on SPX when I mentioned if it breaks the VWAP, you're going to go higher on Friday? I posted it for you guys a few times. I also posted it on Twitter. Once we broke the VWAP here, that we were going to go to orb 50, we went perfectly to the orb 50. I actually sold all my SPX calls here for 200% between this break and this break. But then if you just look at this for a moment, I just want you to look at it. Look how well that was played by the market makers, right? So they trapped you guys in. They said, yeah, are we going to make a new higher high? Here you made a higher high, higher high, higher high. Then you made pretty much a lower low here, and then a lower high, and then another trap here. You guys get in on the break of this connection. You get in, you can make money here. You can definitely make some money, but you just still have to be very quick. You connect your lower highs. It still looks like a descending triangle. It's a flat bottom with the lower highs. Then you break this, but you're really never breaking this previous higher high, even on 3 minutes. Then honestly, this is an easy short, and this is what we talk about, the morning setup. Once it broke this rectangle right here at 348, 477, I mean, this was a good drop. I know there was some crazy contract movement between here and here in 10 minutes. I think some contracts went from 8 cents to about $1.20 on the put side. So you can definitely catch some of this, but it just requires patience, right?
Shorty.
Yep.
I have a question about how you like know exactly when it is a higher high. Like, is it within the day that like it's reached a new high for the day, or
So
is it like
different time frames, right? So I mean, remember what we talked about in one of the videos you guys have. So here, if we look at that, if you look at SPX on a daily time frame tells you the structure of the market. Usually people use daily to figure out what the trend is, right? So here we made a higher high, then you made a lower high, lower high. Usually when that happens, you want to connect your, right? You want to connect your lower highs, connect it with a line. Once it breaks and it makes a previous lower high, breaks the previous lower high here, it's time to go up. And here it basically did that. You can use it on any time frame. I don't really usually go below 5 minutes when I'm looking at time frames and lower highs, right? So I think we traded AMD last week. I don't know if Rayan or who was with me on a call. We took some calls on, let me just hide this so you guys can see it better. So on Amazon, on AMD, I'm sorry, I forgot what day it was. I think it's right here. Yep. So this was the opening, right? 9:30. Where is it? Right here. We dipped below. What I usually tell you guys is wait for a little bit of consolidation to come in. Don't be early to buy these candles immediately on the bounce back within the first 15 minutes. A lot of people like to use 15-minute or opening range, but there's a lot of false negatives here. So here, the way I look at it, the way I trade it, and the way I tell you guys to trade it is basically it creates a rectangular consolidation. And what I mean by that is this range right here. You let it come back and they'll test it a few times, right? So here it tested it, here it's making higher lows again. So higher lows here, higher low here, higher low here. Here's your previous lower high. So higher high, lower high, lower high. Here's your higher high that it broke, but then it came back. So next time, if you're playing this, this is your entry right here. If you want to get in long, you have a demand zone and it can basically go here and look what happens. If you're to get in here and basically sell it, you can definitely use some fibs to figure out what levels it's going to go. So if this was the candle here, you could use the swing here, this one right here, to figure out your 127, your 1618, and take the profits. It has a nice demand zone here. So look here. Now we extend this demand zone and look, it came back here at first touch. When it touched it, I mean, it went from 141 to 149. And this happened, this December 22nd, it happened to go all the way down, went up all the way to 1618, almost at 144 from 141.95. But it just requires patience. You wait for the curl to happen, let it reject a few times. They'll give you the wicks, they'll tell you where the sellers are. Once it takes that level or it makes a new higher high, that's the way to go. And this works on any time frame.
Okay,
This
thank
works.
you.
So here's your higher high on, let's say, I'm just starting from the left. I don't know from here. I don't know where the next previous high was. So if we go here, here's your higher high. Here's your lower high, but this is 30 minutes lower high. So this is your micro trend within the big picture, if that makes sense. And there's actually for guys here, there's actually double zigzags with a higher high. This is actually not a bad study for you guys. So here, the blue ones are your macro trends. In between, the little green ones are your micro trends. In terms of the blue one, you see here, the next higher high that needs to break is right here, 155, 65. But you have the micro trends that are happening. Is a lower high, higher low. Then you have a higher high, basically compared to this one here and this one. But then you have the micro trends within the macro trend. Here's a higher high, higher low, higher high. This one made a lower low. Here's your entry again to go long. You break this level, you can go long, but know that there's a micro or a macro level, higher high, that you need to be aware of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
For ES, did you say a key level was?
What was the key level?
I know you have 4745 as well as an important level.
Yep. I mean, let me bring this over. Yes. So we have 4783. That's very important for it. If we're going to go higher on ES. On the bottom side, I mean, it has a gap that started at 4770. So you want to be aware of that level tomorrow. I am pretty sure we're going to be there in the morning. Tomorrow morning, we're going to open at 4770. The gap started at 4761. Let's see. Let me try and chart this here. Let me switch to regular candles. So what does it look like to you on the top now? I'm just doing naked chart. There's nothing on my charts, no indicators.
Double top. Oh, shit, yeah.
Looks like consolidation.
So, yeah, it's definitely a consolidation. And, you know, thinking about where we came, right? So let's just look at the market structure real quick on 4 hours. So we had, I hate the candle color scheme that I have. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to fix it somehow. So here you have a double bottom, right? This is a perfect double bottom. Your entry on double bottom is the break of your neckline here. So this is where you get in, and here you obviously it worked. So if you're going to play this, the double bottoms, you can measure it, or you could definitely use fibs to figure out. I'm looking usually for swings that take out previous highs. And here we hit the levels perfectly here eventually. You see the 127 was almost acting like a magnet now. The next level, once we break this here, the all-time highs, I guess, for this box is going to be 48.57. If you break to the downside, you're going to the golden fib at 61.8, which would be 46.31. This is just a naked chart that I'm giving you levels. Okay, so here, obviously, you had a higher high. I just want to incorporate some of the things for you guys. So while you're looking or learning, maybe you know some of this stuff. So lower high, I would call this lower high. And then here, you're kind of reversing the trend, right? So for the new people, what is a bullish trend? New people only. What's a bullish trend? How do you define a bullish trend? Let me pick on somebody. Fibonacci, can you speak? Fox, Fibonacci. If you can't hear me, that's fine. How do you define what's bullish or bearish trend? Okay, anyone can answer now.
Higher highs and higher lows.
Yep. So don't forget, higher highs plus higher lows, always bullish. Lower highs, lower lows equals bearish. Any other combo is what?
Consolidation.
Consolidation. If that happens, you connect the highs, you connect higher high to lower highs, and you connect higher lows to lower lows, or vice versa, right? Depending on what kind of formation we got. So here, obviously, if you're doing this, if you're connecting these, here, this was your entry, right? So you had a lower high, it broke this level here. Usually smart traders or professional traders will wait for the new higher high to be put in before they take the trade. And look what happens right after that, guys. Just think logically, right? So here, you know, you have a nice, I would call it channel. It's coming down. It broke this channel here. And look, we popped higher. Then we literally come back to the previous breakout level, to the previous test to make sure that this is a real test where the buyers are going to show up. And they do it again with a double bottom. Hold on one second, guys. Was it? Oh, okay. Well, he's been eating like crazy. I'm sorry, guys. My little baby was puking just moments ago. So here, you obviously see that this is a double bottom here forming. Then there's another double bottom. Double bottoms. You take the neckline a little bit here, and you can go long again. There's plenty of opportunities here to look at the key levels and understand what's going on. You just have to kind of think of it more of art than science, right? So here again, I know Ryan and a few people that have been in the Discord group will know these patterns and what happens. Look at this. This is a rectangular consolidation again. This is easy. This becomes your demand zone for moving forward. So now let's see. If we dip here, where do you guys think we go? We're probably going to go here, guys. We're going to go to 46 level here somewhere. So this is your key levels for tomorrow. You want to go higher?
Could it also be a measured move there? This is a
measured move. Rectangular positions are measured moves, correct? If that's what you're talking about. Is that what you're referring to, or?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was just noticing where you said it was going to go down. It looks like it's about twice that measured move. So I know you're saying it because you have the.
So the measured moves is not where measured move is not where it's going to go. It's where you should take profits. See what I'm saying? So So for you and me, right? I don't care that it has all this space. Honestly, sure, it can have all this space all it wants. For me, if I can get this measured move to pay me, if I'm playing this here, let's say this box here, what is it? About 25 points. If I was to get this 1.06% to up here, right? And if I just draw a line, just to kind of look at it, where does it come down to? Well, to me, it comes down, there's some relevant points here, but not really. So it had the previous lower high here, the second lower high from the higher high. Then they had the level where it rejected, bounced from. So for me, and it's also 4,700, right? The law of just the even numbers. I would get out here. If I was to short it below 4,750, I am pretty sure 4,700 is going to be a bounce area, just knowing the number itself. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So for me, it doesn't make sense for me to gamble and go all the way down. Sure, if it kind of consolidates then in this zone, let's say it creates a little mini consolidation and then it gives me an entry. Oh, hell yeah, I'm taking this trade all the way down to 46, 43. There's no questions that I would get in here. And I believe Sincere Rockets asked me last Friday when we were trading Amazon, why did I get 4750? Why did I load up in my cube on Thinkorswim 4750s and 4300s on the break on Amazon? On this break of 3370, I played the 3350s. I bought a handful of 3300s just for fun, but then on this break here, I played 3300s. Right, so that's how I usually play. I take my profits and I roll into the next strike and just make sure I keep in the profits, that they're not taking anything back from me. Okay, did this session help explain to all the new guys? I mean, please respond in chat if it made any sense to you guys. Let me see if you can. Fibonacci, you're actually muted. I think you have to. Well, if you're on iPad, I don't know how that works with Discord.
I think they just have to switch their settings to push to talk.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really familiar with all these things. Okay, this stock is going to be ready soon, guys. We should not miss this stock. This is going to be ready to go soon. And when this moves,
options.
This stock can move. And I know people that can make that made serious cash on this, just the way it moves. And the spreads are not the best. I made some decent money on these. I forgot to look at Airbnb, I'm sorry, but I think Airbnb, as much as COVID, news are bad, I feel like COVID actually somehow helps it. Just because people are renting more rather than hotels or whatnot. I know friends that have Airbnbs that they rent them out and they're like, man, we can't keep up with the demand once this starts. So I would watch this containment area here on Airbnb, see what we get. This is an interesting range. 172. It's been in this range for a while. Yeah, I mean, it's been 177 now to the low 149, but a lot of time. If you're to put market profile here, I'm pretty sure it would show you something different here. Let's see, let's do 1 hour market profile. Yeah, so a lot of time is being spent in this area. So TPO, market profile, is your time spent at these levels. And where you see these levels, it's not related to the price and the volume. It's related how much time the stock has spent at a particular level. And obviously, you guys see how many POCs are in this area here. A lot. All of these is basically indicating how much time has been spent. And this looks pretty good. Honestly, this looks really good over 172.76. I would play this all the way. It could make a run over to 185.78. Okay. If you guys don't have any questions, whoever took the watch list notes, please, if you can send them to me, I'll review some charts a little bit more tonight. And tomorrow morning, I'll wake up a little bit earlier, check the pre-market to make sure that the levels are still good. And then if we need to rearrange some stuff, we'll definitely rearrange it. But we just have to see how we open. I don't know if they'll open green. It just looks weak to be sustained to stay there. Is ES have a VPOC at 47.20? Let's check real quick. So it definitely has a VPOC here. This is your VPOC here at 46.73. Let me just delete some of this stuff. This is not a VPOC here. Just know this is not a VPOC. This 47.25 that you have, or 75, maybe I'm off a little bit. This is not a VPOC. So it closed the day here, right? There was a 4 o'clock close. The next day it was still here. It's no longer a VPOC on this range. Yeah, so you see here it came back. It wouldn't have been VPOC if it literally continued here. If it made a higher high and it just continued higher. But it's an important level to watch tomorrow, 47.20. So you have 47.50 to 47.20, and then you have this area that we identified earlier. Over 4,800, it has potential. If it goes over 4,800 on SPX, 48.20, 48.30 calls are going to be pretty much easy money. So here's this one. So here's a VPOC on SPX right here at 47.25. There's another one here. There's another one. I don't know. Let's call it this one's not. Definitely a VPOC here, all the way at 45.68. So all of these levels at some point will have to be filled. And I would definitely mark this level. Friday's POC. What is this level? I would definitely watch this level tomorrow. 47. Let's call it 6.6. I would definitely watch that. Okay, and if it taps, if the VPOC is tested on the extended hours, usually it's not a bad idea to put ETH in front of it, like it was tapped, whatever you want to indicate that it was tapped against extended trading hours, but it really does not count. They can manipulate the market a lot quicker when that happens, so that really don't count it as a test. If it kind of fits your style that it is, then sure, you can definitely make that. But I don't. I have to play with these areas.
I took notes because I don't think Jag's here. Do you know exactly what your favorite setups are right now, or?
Yeah, just send them to me and I'll mark them. Is that Rayan or who?
Yeah, Rayan.
I would say Roblox looks very good. Affirm looks very good. I would look at, we have Affirm, Roblox. Let me just go through the list here real quick. Affirm, Roblox. I would say Ford looks good if it breaks that level. I would say Tesla's going to be, Tesla's in the top watch just because the retail is going to jump in. We're just going to have to wait and get a better level than most people tomorrow.
Okay.
So we'll definitely watch that. And tomorrow we'll see how we open. I don't know if you guys are watching futures right now. I just took a peek here. So here's your ES right now on 3 minutes. And look at the close. I mean, I know the volume close doesn't really matter, but look at the close volume here. I mean, I can't, you guys see this candle? Yeah, I see this, what dumped ES or SPX right before the close.
Yeah, we see it.
Yeah. So this is fairly important. And what else do you guys see on ES on 15 minutes here? Anyone? Okay, it's the same pattern that pretty much happened here. So here we had a dump and then it kind of inched higher, right? It didn't really have a nice move higher. But if you look at this.
Oh, I see. So yeah, it dumps and then it like kind of inched up and then it dumped again. It's kind of inching up again.
Exactly. So here it's been making, actually here it made a lower low, right? So here you have let's just kind of cover it real quick. So you have a higher low, lower low, lower high, higher high, higher high, higher high, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Tried to make, it did make a higher high, but then look at this. This is your previous lower, higher low. Once it broke this, guys, I mean, it destroyed down all the way down. So then it created like a little mini fake for the opening range. It created a little demand zone that here, obviously, you guys see it for the day. And then now it just bounced below kind of on it. And it's doing the same pattern that it's been doing here. It just might not look to you because I'm kind of zoomed out, but it's doing the same thing here. So let me just kind of give you an idea here. So here's your 30-minute, right? If you look at this, and I'm not trying to be precise at this moment, but here. So we're just going to watch for the breaks, right, and see which way this wants to go. And then NQ, I think it would have similar setup here. So actually it has a better setup here than ES, right? So professionally wise, you're actually supposed to short it right here when it tapped that level 16.461. So here it has like a nice little bull flag that's forming on it. You really don't want to take it till it breaks this to the top side, and you want to be cautious of taking tech stocks tomorrow, unless this is kind of responding to you and saying, yeah, we want to go higher. And then at the same time, you guys know that I'm fairly big on the ad. You want to be careful of the ad, right? I said above 700, it might bounce. We've been really choppy here, right? You guys see that there's really no trending days. And next class that I'll schedule for upcoming weekend, we'll talk about the 6 days that markets have. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with them or not, but there's only 6 days that stock market has, right? The trending day, double end zone days. There's a couple of different terminologies that we can use to define the days, but it will help you guys determine when you see, SPX open. If you see SPX open like this, what kind of day is that? What can you expect, right? So that way you're not losing money right out of the gate, and you can recognize a pattern of the day. It's much easier to trade the setups. So yeah, we'll watch this tomorrow. I think SPY obviously is going to respond well to whatever this is doing. So here's this level that we had. So we call this rejection potential. So if you see here, I think we said that this was a pre-market. If you guys recall, we said that it's going to go here. If it comes, it's easy short. I don't know if you guys recall this from Friday. I do, but I don't know if you guys do. So it came here, and look, that was an easy short again. It came easy short. But now, where did they gap it up, right? They gapped it up right above it, right? And you guys see how it came back to that zone, right? It came back. Let me go 1 minute so you guys can see it here. went high, came back right to it, came back right close to it. I mean, we're going to see tomorrow what happens at this level. If SPY loses this level, it's going to be in trouble. But as of right now, it's gapped up about $1, almost $2.